Hey guys, welcome back to Digital Sniper. So today I want to talk about things that really bother me with certain eBay listings. But before I start, I just want to talk about um, some cards that I got from eBay, and I've opened the package already. But anyhow, these are just some base comments that I'll also use to talk about today's topic. But let's have a look at the cards that just came in. So the first one here is a Sid Bream. Overall, the card looks pretty good. Slightly off-centered. Well, not slightly, but it's off-centered. But corners and edges look pretty good. Shield looks good. The back centering is slightly off as well. But this is actually a great example that I can use later on for my video. The second card here is the Francisco Cabrera, and pretty well centered. Slightly soft left corner, but overall, this is a really good eye appeal card. There's a slight issue here with the edge here, but I'm not too bothered by it. I think by all means, this is a nice eye appeal looking card. Then we have the Lonnie Smith. Okay, so pretty well centered. Corners look good. Shield looks good. There's a bit of a surface issue here, but I'm fine. This is not like this is a just a few dollars, but overall has good eye appeal, and that's what I look for to add my PC, at least the raw cards, right? So next card here, Rob Dibble. Good looking edges, good looking corners. Shield looks good. Back centering looks good. And here we have the Ozzy Canseco. Now, this is one of those base commons where it's actually pretty high demand. Maybe because of his brother, but overall, I didn't want to pay like $100 or $200 for a PSA 10. Sometimes a more reasonable PSA 10 will pop up in terms of price. On what I mean, but they are harder to come by. I'm sure it's because of Jose, but anyhow, pretty well centered. And there's a slight issue here in the bottom right, but there's also like a tiny bit of a ding on the corner, and also this kind of an edge issue here, but nothing too bad. So I'm good. Then we have a Mark Lee. Four sharp corners, edges look good, shield looks good. All the shields in this batch actually look pretty decent. The back center is pretty good too. So yeah, surface looks pretty good. Okay, and then we have a Bip Roberts, pretty well centered, nice looking edges, decent. Well, slightly off centered on the back, but I'm good. I'm happy. These all look pretty good. It was pretty well packed by the seller. I requested the seller to use a sleeve and top loaders, and this is how it came. And it was like double wrapped and cardboard sandwiched and everything. So thanks to the seller. I will definitely be buying from you again, as I'm trying to source more base commons for my Desert Shield set. So, on to my topic today. I want to talk about certain things on eBay that really bother me. Okay, and for the first topic, or for the first thing I want to talk about, um, I'll use this Sid Bream. Okay, so often when you're looking at listing photos, the good sellers will have a very clear scan, in front and back, that shows you a very detailed photo of or scan of the card. Now, one thing that really bothers me is when people take a photo of the card and they angle it like that. You'll see this a lot, okay? And sometimes it may be angled this way. So the thing is, the reason why I'm using the SID beam is because it's off-centered, okay? So if we look at the card like this, it's what, 60-40? Yeah, I would say this is probably like a 60-40, okay, in terms of the off-centering. However, when I angle the card like this, the off-centering is not as noticeable, okay? And also, you may think, well, if you turn it the other way, then wouldn't it emphasize the off-centering even more? Well, actually, it doesn't. It actually makes it look like it's more even. And that's because the angle of the card actually toys around with how your brain works, okay? Because often we have this memory where, things will be slightly reduced or enlarged when you have a certain object tweaked to a certain angle. And so, automatically your brain does some calculations to kind of balance what you see. And so I'm not saying that it's perfectly centered at this angle, but it's definitely not, it doesn't bother you as much in comparison to looking at a card flat on like this. So if for some reason, I think 99% of the time, this is intentional. Okay. And by this, I mean this or this. Sure, maybe some people, they're not photographers and they may have shot the photo like this by accident. Good enough. But if you're a seller and you're trying to kind of hide the fact that it's off centered, please don't do that. Honestly, with eBay sellers, a lot of your business is from sellers coming back repeatedly and buying, especially these lower priced, lower tiered baseball cards. And so you may cheat me once, cheat me twice, but definitely there won't be a third time. Like, especially, we're looking for quality. And if you list this as, slightly off centered, or the fact that it's not, or it's not just the centering, right? If you're trying to hide something, let's just say there's like a soft corner and you shoot the photo at an angle just to hide that, well, or two soft corners, let's just say, or an edge issue, well, that card is not near mint. And I may not be able to get a refund or return the item due to these issues, but I'll definitely not buy from you again. Not because you sold me something that wasn't perfect, but I just feel like I was misled or cheated on purpose. So that's okay. So that's the first thing. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is when people scan photos, and I think this is like borderline the same intentions as someone shooting a photo on an angle. And have you seen the scans where they never show the edge? It cuts off within the border of the card. Now, I never buy from these sellers because, first of all, I can't see the condition of the card. And sure, I can see the condition of the surface or within the border, but the corners and edges are a big part of the condition of the card. And if you're cropping inside of the card, there's 50, well, more than 50, I'm assuming, because as a buyer, I'm just going to assume that there are issues with the card, and that's why you're trying to hide it. So that's one thing that I really don't like. Okay. Now, the third thing, which is something that I'm seeing a lot more, is a lot of um, Desert Shield sellers are now posting a lot of these base commons, and then once in a while, you'll see a fake card, and you'll say, "Well, come on, maybe they didn't notice it, and they have 4,000 items in their inventory, and so they may have missed it." if you're a collector and if you sell, a few thousand items of Desert Shield cards on your eBay account, eBay store, whatever, I'm sure you're not going to miss a poorly made Desert Shield fake. And the reason why I am emphasizing poorly made is because it's very obvious. I'm not talking about the ones that are like really, really well made. I'm talking about the ones that the shield is totally off. The size of the shield's off. The shape of the shield's off. Usually the ones where new collectors don't really know that it's fake, but for someone that is a long time collector or seller or reseller or whatever, you can spot just, not even having to pull up the card, you can just spot from really far away. And I do think that sometimes sellers sort of put a blind eye to this. Okay, I don't want to call out anyone saying that they're trying to scam anyone, but the fact that because it's raw and the fact that there's so many cards on the listings, just like how a potential buyer may have put that into their cart accidentally because they didn't notice the shield, well, there's something off of the shield, they could say the same about, well, we didn't notice that as well. We'll take it off on our site. And I just think that why bother? Like the reputation that you have as a seller is very important, and the fact that you can't tell that is a fake shield. I'm not saying this card is a fake shield, by the way, but I'm just saying if you get one of those cards on an eBay listing, and if the seller tells you, well, I didn't catch that, really, I would question whether or not he knows anything about Desert Shield cards. So if you're a seller and maybe somehow you bought a card that was fake by accident, maybe in a lot, and I can understand, like if there's like a few thousand cards in that lot, you're not going to go through every single card. You may go through like, a couple hundreds and assume the rest are authentic. But I would definitely avoid relisting those cards on your store to save the reputation of your brand or your eBay shop, whatever. So yeah, please avoid that. Now, the third thing is, I know, like for example, this seller is a very good example, and I'm complimenting him because most of these cards are in near mint condition, and I do think that I may have spotted certain things like soft corners or tiny edge issues, but raw eye appeal wise, they look really good. But there are sellers that like to describe their cards as near mint, and then you have like three dinged corners, chipped edges, and some may even have stains. And as we all know, at least with PSA grading, once a card has stains, it's like an automatically PSA 6 or 5. Okay, and if it doesn't get like an ST grade. So the thing is, like, if you're not going to be really accurate about the description of the card, don't describe the condition. Just say like see as if, conditioned as, shown in photo or something. Don't call it near mint. Okay. Some people, they do like a near mint BC, which I believe is like considering the better the near mint condition, the higher the grade after. So if, let's say, there's two Supremes, one looks better than the other, then this will be a B and this will be a C, but they're still considered near mint. I'm okay with that because they're being more specific. And for me, I think that when they're being more specific, while they may not be 100% accurate, at least they're trying to give you a good perspective of how two identical cards differ from one another. Okay. But sometimes a lot of the descriptions on these eBay listings are, not necessary. Like, for example, you see a lot where it's like saying it's rare when it's not. And sometimes they are rare, which is fine. But if it's not really rare, don't say it's rare, because like for a new collector, they may be misled to think that, oh, that's like a super rare card. And obviously, like, it's their own responsibility to research and check whether or not that is a rare card. But I just think that, once again, um, it's a damage to your own reputation as a seller, because as that collector gains more knowledge, they'll just say, this guy calls whatever he has in his listing rare, but it's not really that rare. So, yeah, so that's the other thing that really kind of bothers me when I'm looking at eBay listings. Now, let me see if there's anything else. What else? I think that's about it, actually. I think the most important thing is for sellers is to be honest. Okay, it's not like it, considering like selling at a card show. Sure, you may rip off someone once, but are you only setting up one time? You're not. You're going to be, if you're selling at a national something big, you're going to be there every year, and you don't want that customer to come back and say, "Oh, this guy's, selling like is ripping me off, or he's ripped me off before." And the reputation as a business is very important, and you want to be honest. And the thing is, if like I've met many good people on eBay, and where I had cards delivered to me where I wasn't too happy with the condition, because his or hers description of the card or opinion on the condition to what came at the end was slightly different. And at the end, we kind of agreed with the fact that it was damaged during shipping. I wasn't too sure about that, but the fact is, because the reason why I'm saying I wasn't too sure is because there may be a chance that certain cards, which were like base commons, he had a lot of, and he's just picked out, another one that looked kind of decent and sent me that one, rather than finding the exact one he may had listed in the listing photo. And I can understand that, because if you're selling base commons, you may have like 100 Sid Breams, and so and that card may not exist anymore. You may have sold it, but you may not have, like, due to the convenience, and you're such a selling a $4 card, you're not going to scan and and shoot another 100 photos or whatever of a base common. So you're just going to grab the next card and say, well, it looks pretty much near mint. I'll just send the seller this. I mean, the buyer this. But the thing is, buyers are actually looking for the exact card. Okay, so as a seller, please note that, like, I know it's a lot to do, like a lot of the scanning and relisting, but on the other hand, we do want to make sure what we're paying for is exactly as listed. Okay, that's all I want to talk about today. And if anyone is curious to why I have like a McGuire's Plastics over here on the right, and it's not that I plan to start a car detailing business. But now, first of all, I got plastics here, and this is a Blue Magic metal polished cream. And then I have some sandpaper. And some of you may already have guessed, I am going to make a video about how we can clean off scratches, okay, from magnetic one touch, or PSA cases. So recently I had a card came in where the back side of the PSA slab was severely scratched. When I mean severely, I'm not talking about like rough scuffs, minor scuffs like this. Okay, this is more like long time wear and tear, and then when you have the magnetic one touch rub off of other plastics, I'm talking about like the slab was like, it was like keyed. Okay, there's like 3 strong scratches on it. But anyhow, I've noticed that many people mentioned with these headlight scratch removers. It doesn't have to be a plastics, but I hear that this is a pretty good brand. And these, if the scratch is more severe, you can use a metal polish cream, which is, I believe these are for like rims. That, along with the sandpaper, if it's really severe, and some buffing towels, you can get these scratches removed. So if you're interested in this topic, please stay tuned. The video will be coming soon. And thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe my video. And that keeps me going and motivated to make more videos in the future. And I will continue to make more interesting topics and videos regarding Desert Shield cards in the near future. Thank you. Talk to you guys soon.